What's up with it? You watching a Bank Bomber TV. And yeah, we about to check out this video from the YouTube channel Hot Spills. And the title is Shannon Sharpe destroys Jim Jones for claiming he's better than Nas. Yeah, man, that's a fool with it, man. I think Jim Jones might have an edge on Nas though when it come down to swag, you know what I'm saying? But when it come down to rap, Nas one of the biggest, man, a straight trendsetter, man, you know what I mean? He set the bar at the beginning of modern hip-hop. It's crazy that Jim Jones think he can even compare. I think if Nas only dropped Illmatic, he still would have been more iconic than Jim Jones, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah, man, I think in certain circumstances, man, Jim Jones' music might have the edge. Yeah, I think that'll come down to like probably a party or something, you know what I'm saying? I think Jim Jones definitely might can rock the party better than Nas, you know what I'm saying? But when it come down to hip-hop though, man, and stories and stuff like that, man, I don't think Jim can mess with Nas like at all, you feel me? With me being from the West Coast, I even rank Nas highly. Nas just one of them ones, man, but I ain't knocking Jim Jones for filling this game, man, but I think Nas so iconic though that Jim Jones should show a little more respect, man, for real though. Nas basically a living Tupac or Biggie, you know what I'm saying? For real though, man, living legend, man. So I definitely think he deserves more respect than Jim giving him, you feel me? For real though. But yeah, man, I haven't checked out the video. Don't completely know what they talking about, but let's check it out and see what they talking about.
Ain't nobody from Dipset gonna take you over Nas. Nobody from the Diplomats but you.
Hold on, Jimmy. Hold on. I'm rapping at a high level. You better check my stats, bro. I will run circles around Nas rapping right now. Right now, I will run Saturn around Nas right now rapping. I'm not scared of nobody.
These kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is.
Bro,
you too small.
Bro, you talking a lot.
Now you want to get me? You want me to see me in the gym? Now come see me in the gym.
We talking about working out. We talking about working out.
Jim Jones recently dropped a bombshell on Shannon Sharpe's podcast, claiming he's more influential than NAS. Not just relevant, but straight up more important to the culture. The moment he said that, everything shifted. Maybe Jim started this to prove a point, but now he's opened a whole can of worms way bigger than just music. The tension between Jim Jones and Nas didn't start yesterday. This ain't some random generational diss. Their beef goes way back to 2002, when Nas went on a Hot 97 rant and randomly called Cameron's album whack for no clear reason. That set Dipset off, and Jim Jones jumped right into the fire. From there, it got messy. Nas and Dipset trading shots on mixtapes, with Jim making it personal, even threatening to smack the kufi off Nas. He kept that energy flowing in hits like We Fly High. But here's the twist. Jim always had respect for Nas. Just 1 year ago, he wasn't throwing any shade at all.
He really put the whole dope boy rap, crack hustler, get fresh rap into perspective before anybody else. Before I heard Jay do it, before I heard anybody else, like he changed the cadence of rap into a whole different steam. Like he's the one that broke the camel's back when it came to artists like, to me, when it came to artists like Big Daddy Kane and all these artists that came right before him. Like after Nas came with that, they started to fade out, and then Jay, Fat Joe, like all of these rappers that are spitting about the life that we was really starting to live right now and how it was changing. Like this is, you know what I mean?
But that respect didn't last long. Things took a sharp turn when Jim recently appeared on Fat Joe and Jadakiss's podcast, and Fat Joe decided to stir the pot.
I recently saw a clip on Instagram where a young kid was comparing you to Nas and saying that you got
that's my young boy.
Big hits. Yo, he looked to you. He learned how to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He got his swag. Like, how crazy is that? Because in my era, you know what I'm saying? Nas is like a god.
That moment could have easily been brushed off, but Jim wasn't having it. He was about to take things to a whole new level, and what he said next would blow up everywhere.
I admired Nas. But remember, Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade. So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like you did, came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan, period. I'd never take that away from him. But then as I got in the game, you got to realize that your rivals would be idols, and not to take anything away from that. I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different generation. We're talking about 94.
Suddenly, he dropped a
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, he got a point right there. You know what I'm saying? Times do change, but I'm thinking he fell in to realize Nas' iconicness. Then in that other clip, man, he basically said that Nas set the bar for like the modern hip hop. So yeah, he know how iconic he is to hip hop. But for him to think he like on the same level of iconicness, though, man, that's kind of crazy.
wild and bold statement that shook the hip-hop world.
I came into light and started going crazy that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them. Some of them know. But
you know what I mean?
A lot of them know.
Jim didn't just claim he was more relevant. He boldly positioned himself as more influential than Nas. Yeah, Nas, the Queensbridge legend behind Illmatic, God's Son, King's Disease, and the guy still packing Madison Square Garden well into his 50s. But Jim wasn't backing off. He didn't hesitate for a second. In fact, he doubled down on his claim.
But they forget, I got a hell of a catalog. Me, Jim Jones, myself, gold records, platinum records, gold albums, platinum albums. No, me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record, then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries, then check all them entries and shit. I'm not taking nothing away from nobody, but I hear the comparisons and then me trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this shit. I'm talking about the industry. I've been putting on. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I got to show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You want to go to the billboard entries, pull up Nas billboard entries, then pull up my billboard entries.
That interview.
I ain't gonna lie, that boy Fat Joe Face said it all. Like, man, you full of it. Only Jim Jones hit I can recall out like Diplomats probably is balling, you know what I'm saying? Like, other than that, man, I don't remember no Jim Jones tracks like that. As a collective though, Dipset though, man, I think he definitely on some hits and some slappers with that. But if you go back and listen to like some of the old Jim Jones tracks, man, Jim Jones barely knew how to rap. Jim Jones wasn't always super polished with the hip hop, man. Jim was down there close to the weakest link for sure, for sure.
You didn't just stir the pot, it flipped it over and set it ablaze. Before the dust even settled from that podcast, Jim Jones showed up on another platform, Shannon Sharpe's Nightcap. Ready to double down, Jim rolled through with Shannon and Chad Ochocinco Johnson to explain himself, and ended up pouring even more gasoline on the fire. Shannon wasn't about to let him off easy, kicking off the conversation, saying,
"Can I ask you a question, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
You smoke, right?"
Yeah.
Were you smoking when you said you better than Nas?
I might have been a little bit.
But what he said next actually made fans hit pause and take a moment to process.
I'm way more influential than Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when we talk about the sales and all this type of shit. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
Well, you said that
but listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Mm-hmm. Nas was dope. We appreciate him. He had a little bit run.
Just when you think Jim's finished flexing, he drops another blazing hot take. He dragged up the old Dipset versus Nas beef from the early 2000s, claiming he was the bigger Nas fan, but that he surpassed Nas in real impact. Jim gave Nas credit for being one of the flyest in fashion, but kept circling back to his main claim. Nas doesn't hold the same sway over the streets that he does.
Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like,
ain't no shame in that. There a lot of more folks came up second to Tom Brady.
He never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album. I already told you, I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear and shit, and we used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit, so I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit like that.
Bro, you been in this thing. But lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
Yeah, but look how you dress. Look how you dress. You don't even be in the same places I be in. And the things that we listen to,
I can be in the church house. You can't ever Nas lyrics.
That we,
I don't know who told you that. Now look, I know you on that good stuff, but you're not seeing Nas.
Meanwhile,
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I think Jim might be able to pick a better beat, possibly. You know what I'm saying? But when it come down to them lyrics, though, man, he can't touch Nas lyrically, man, for real.
Jim was so salty that he started roasting Shannon about his wardrobe choices.
You got a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than
It don't
Nas.
matter.
Look at you. Look at you.
Nobody,
Nobody
from Dipset gonna take you over Nas. Nobody from the Diplomats but you.
Man.
Hold on,
Jim.
Hold on.
That shirt too tight.
Hold on.
That shirt too tight. You want to go back to I really mean it? I really mean it started. We could go back to the history, bro.
For you to even say that,
bro. I'm still playing at a high level. You check my record,
you jumping up
I'm still playing at a high level. I'm rapping at a high level. You better check my stats, bro. I will run circles around Nas rapping right. I will run circles around Nas rapping right now. Right now, I will run Saturn around Nas right now rapping. Everybody knows that.
Jim threw out a shot, saying Shannon just invited him on for views. And that comment really got Shannon fired up.
He don't even know about rap. He just doing this for the views to get Jim Jones on there to get him hot. I understand. But you don't know him hot. You don't know Nas.
You better check the podcast space. Now you better talk.
Sing 16.
Hey, this is the biggest podcast you ever been on.
Name one Nas record.
This is the biggest podcast you ever been on. You know what podcast you been on bigger than this one.
Hold on. We on topic. Hold on.
This is what I do. You see
Name a podcast you been on bigger than this one. When you get big, you get invited to Club Shay Shay.
This is what I do.
Nas get invited to Club Shay Shay. Jadakiss get invited to Club Shay Shay. You not on that level yet, bro.
Then Shannon switched gears.
Man, he was going in on him, man. I ain't gonna lie though. I think Jim got better than he was for sure. But yeah, man, Jim a little late though, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why his record's not going crazy like they could. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Lately, though, Jim definitely been dropping some decent music. You know what I mean? But I don't think Nas really focused on music like that. He got like some other ventures going on. So, yeah, man. I think he should be respecting Nas for setting the bar, like for real though. I ain't gonna lie, Jim must have got a batch of some real good stuff for real though.
It's fast, going from chill host to straight up opponent. If Jim was looking for smoke, Shannon was ready to take it to the gym. When Jim claimed he was better than Nas, Shannon didn't just question his words. He challenged him physically too.
You gotta start buying baggy your clothes, big fella. You too big, man.
You talk about you in the gym. Now you want to get me? You want me to see me in the gym?
Oh, we can do
Since
that.
you like to talk that ish, now come see me in the gym.
We talking about working out. We talking about working out or strength? What we talking about? Working out or strength?
Work however you want to do it.
We talking about
since you got money.
And we talking about
put your money where your mouth feels.
So you talking about working out? I burn you. You talking about working out? I burn you. You talking about working out or strength? Because you probably can lift a lot more than me.
Whatever.
You're bigger than me. You're probably stronger than me. But if you talk about working out, I burn you.
This ain't what you do. This ain't what you want.
Bro.
You too small.
Bro.
You not
talking. You talking a lot.
Meanwhile, the audience...
Man, he told that boy he need to get some bigger clothes, and then that boy got up and had on some little ass shorts, man. That's some fool with it, man.
He's going wild in the comments, loving the fact that a retired NFL Hall of Famer was stepping up to defend Nas like that. One fan wrote, Shannon did what Fat Joe and Jada should have done. Jones, you delusional. Shannon, thank you for bringing it up. And honestly, that's facts. Because why were they so quiet during that interview?
Me, Jim Jones, myself. Gold records, platinum records, gold albums, platinum albums. No, me, Jim Jones.
But just when everyone thought it was over, things got petty real quick. Because that's when fans brought the clip back up again.
I'm not anxious to hear the Jim Jones diss record. Like, I'm like, yo. The niggas that used to have a nigga a little nervous was like B.I.G., Pac, right? Even Cannabis, like Eminem. The niggas used to have you like, if we go at it, dog, we gotta go hard. You know what I'm saying? But these niggas like a Jim Jones, like I mean, I respect you getting your money. You're like, exactly, right?
But MC, why do you not respecting his lyrical game right now?
I respect his hustle. Right. I respect his hustle. That's about it.
Jim didn't just get ignored by Nas back then. He got flat out laughed off the stage. And now, the same vibe is making rounds all over again. To top it off, Jim also posted this on Instagram. If you 40 and up arguing with me about Nas, y'all already lost. My streams go up every time I got viral. I'm teaching you older artists a lesson in marketing. Y'all so stuck in yesterday, y'all mad at the way things run today. But here's the wildest part. While all this drama was unfolding, NAS kept his silence. Meanwhile, Jim kept pushing, still claiming he's more influential. If NAS ever decided to step up, it wouldn't just be a diss, it would be a full-on lyrical takedown. And right now, fans aren't holding back. They're calling Jim out.
Jim Jones was never better than Nas. Jim Jones will never be better than Nas. And this is coming from somebody that's not a Nas fan. I love Dipset. I love the Diplomats. I love Bird Gang. But we not about to start rewriting history because Jim Jones got confidence. Listen, I love Capo, but Capo was never that good of a rapper. When Jim Jones got balling, we was happy for him because we like Capo. We was like, yo, he got one. But he was never that good of a rapper.
Right now, Jim's still throwing shots, while Nas stays quiet. So the question is, will Nas step up and settle this with bars, or is he gonna let the streets handle Jim? Stay.
Yeah, man, that's a fool with it, man. Yeah, Jim somewhat delusional, man, for real, though. And yeah, man, it's funny, Nas really did diss him, though, man. He's like, man, I ain't worried about Jim Jones diss, man, for real, though. The ones that made me worry was dudes like Big Pac and them, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, when it come down to caliber, man, like Nas a way bigger caliber, man, for real, though. And Nas is like vintage, you know what I'm saying? And the solidity in the game, man, is vintage, man, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, I think Jim just fell into respect history, man. You know, Nas a historic rapper, man, for real, man. He took out Jay-Z. Jay-Z basically robbed New York for the crown. You know, the real rap fans know who the king of New York is, man, you know what I mean? When it come down to that rapping, man, you feel me? But yeah, man, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching the Bama TV, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. Until next time. All right.